So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Robert. If this is your first time tuning in, so today, as you can tell from the thumbnail, what we're going to talk about is we're going to ask ChatGPT, which I already have it on my phone, which counties in Texas have the best deer. It's going to break it down by regions, by South Texas, East Texas, etc. So we're going to go ahead and read through them. Some of these counties I can vouch for. I can say, yeah, this is actually pretty accurate. But we're going to see what ChatGPT has to say, what AI has to say about deer. So it's an unusual question to ask it, but why not, right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Again, if you gain any value from this, definitely consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. But first off, all I did was ask it, what counties in Texas have the best deer? See what it says. First off, it says Texas is known for exceptional deer hunting, and some counties are particularly renowned for producing large whitetail deer. These counties often have ideal habitats, good management practices, and strong genetics. Some of the best counties for deer in Texas include, and then it starts listing them off. So the first one it talked about, which is South Texas, which is where I'm at. First one it listed was Webb County. This is actually pretty true. Webb County does produce pretty big deer. And the next one is Dimmitt County. Again, pretty true. It does produce big deer as well. Towards the end of the video, guys, we'll also quickly talk about why I think some of the reasons that South Texas does produce some of the biggest deer as well. The next one it has is LaSalle County. County I'm pretty close to as well. Also produces large deer. And the last one is Maverick County, going towards the like Eagle Pass area. Again, and then at the end it says the counties are part of the famed Golden Triangle, which everyone who hunts deer pretty much across the country knows about the Golden Triangle here in Texas. It just goes on to say Golden Triangle is known for producing trophy whitetail deer due to the rich nutrients and brush and managed ranch lands. Moving on, it goes on to the Edwards Plateau. Edwards Plateau is basically the hill country, and the first one it names off is Llano County. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Next one is Mason County. Next one is Kerr County, and the next one is Kimball County. And it goes on to say this region has one of the highest deer populations in Texas. While the deer here tend to be smaller in size, the numbers make it for great hunting. This is actually pretty true. I don't spend a whole lot of time in the hill country, but I do go out there every now and again. And I do run into more deer, not literally run into, but I do see more deer on the roads than I will here in South Texas. But just driving around on, more rural roads, I see more deer. In the hill country, if you go out to like the suburbs or where there's a little bit more housing, and obviously you can't really hunt in a suburb, you see a lot more deer, but they're also pretty big because they don't get hunted too. But they don't have a lot of mass on the antlers, versus here in South Texas, just in my small towns, in the middle of the night, you'll see a lot of good deer, and they have a little bit more mass as well. But the hill country does have a lot more numbers for sure. So moving on, goes on to North Central Texas. So I'm not too familiar with these areas, but this is what ChatGPT has to say. The first one is Montague County. Hope I'm producing that right. Montague County. The next one is Clay County, and the next one is Young County. And it does say this region offers a good mix of large deer and abundant opportunities, with many private ranches managing their herds for quality. Now again, this is probably talking about mainly for free range whitetail, not high fence for all of these. The next one goes on to say is East Texas. First one listed is Angelina County, Sabine County, and Nacogdoches County. The Piney Woods region is less known for trophy deer, but it provides unique settings with solid hunting opportunities. The last and final region is the Panhandle region. That is Hemphill County, Wheeler County. These counties are known for large body deer and exceptional bucks, though hunting here is less common compared to South Texas. And then at the end, it just kind of says the South Texas brush country is widely considered the best trophy bucks due to its genetics, forage, and intense management practices. Now, I'm gonna turn off the phone now. But the reasons why I kind of think that South Texas, or our area over here, has some of the best deer, there's a couple reasons why. And I've been looking at land, you know, kind of in the Medina County area, and then Live Oak, Atascosa, Frio, a little bit in Dimmitt. The reason, I mean, just comparing like the Medina area, some of the ranches, so there's a couple apps. Let me go back. There's a couple apps that you can get on, and you can click on and see who the owners are, how much land they own, when they acquire the property, everything, right? There's all that information is public. So when I go on these apps and I check out, you know, a specific property I'm interested in, and I check out the neighbors around, I can see where they're from, where they are, you know, are they living there, are they not living there, how many acreage do they own. All that's important to me as a hunter, because I want to make sure that I'm going to have the best opportunities to grow some of the biggest deer, free ranging deer. So when I'm looking at this, some of the again, this is generally where I was looking at, right? Some of the properties that were neighboring to that property were about 100 acres to maybe 300 acres. 300 acres was like the biggest, and that was one neighbor in that area. Most of them were about 100 acres. This is more towards the hill country of the Medina County area. But if I go down to maybe like a Live Oak County, or even like a McMullen County, these ranches are not 100 acres. They're like either thousands or hundreds of acres. So for instance, another ranch I was looking at in Live Oak County, the neighboring property, the guy owned, I think, like 1,600 acres. And then in the back, there's another lady. You can also see if this was just passed along as generational type stuff, or if they just recently acquired it themselves. You can see all that as well, which I'll talk about that later. But anyways, the next lady owned like 2,000 acres, and the next neighbor over owned like another 3,000 acres. So, you know, you go from the hill country-ish area, for that general area I was looking at, neighbors are owning about 100 to maybe 300 acres. And then you go over here to another county, which has a little bit bigger deer as well, and now you have ranches that are in the thousands. Makes a huge difference. You're gonna have less hunting pressure. And also I get on Google Maps and I can see how many homes, how many people live out there. And in this case, there's like 2 people that lived out there for a total of about 5,000 to 6,000 acres. That's pretty good numbers, right? That's pretty good odds of growing big deer. Not gonna have hopefully not a whole lot of hunting pressure as well. Versus the properties that I was looking at in the Medina County area, we had like 6 houses and about 1,000 acres. So again, more hunting pressure if these people hunt, right? We don't really know if these people hunt unless we go out there, and sometimes you can get satellite images and see if there's deer stands as well. That's something I look at if I'm looking at a property, see the neighboring properties, if you can see any deer stands. Google Satellite's actually pretty good for that. I can see my deer stands on Google Satellite as well, so it's pretty cool. But those are just some of the things that I notice. Now, as far as brush quality, you know, there's regions here in South Texas that just look like they have more life. That's the best way to explain it. Driving through some of the hill country, like in the Hondo area, depending on which side of Hondo you go to also, some of it just looks kind of dead. It's a lot of cedars, but the cedars are pretty well grazed as well because they run a lot of cattle. But there's just not a lot of undergrowth as there is sometimes here in South Texas, or even like here. And this is pretty open considering some of the other parts of South Texas. But yeah, and then the brush species is very different. It's not very high protein brush species that I was looking at closer to the hill country, versus some of the counties here in South Texas. The brush species has a lot more protein than you would find up there. So again, plays into the ability to grow large deer. So a combination of just larger ranches, less pressure for these bigger counties that are growing these bigger deer, or not bigger counties, but these counties that are growing bigger deer. And the second is going to be the protein. There's a lot more protein in some of the scrub brush than there is in some of those hill country vegetation out there. So that's going to be the main 2 reasons I would think that the deer do get bigger. Now, if you start going out to Maverick County and all these other counties, the ranches are in the thousands. They're pretty big. So again, you have a better chance of growing bigger deer because you have more land to work with and less neighbors that can potentially kill off younger deer. But yeah, just wanted to put this video out. If you gained any value from this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, be careful, be good, take care, and God bless. See you guys later. Bye-bye.